Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ring Post Radio, the only show that returns from a Sunday morning Sunday morning conversation back at it again in the Scapegoat minivan to talk Ring Post Radio, to talk Double or Nothing AEW Double or Nothing 2024. We are back. We got some immediate thoughts in the chat, which we'll address in a moment. I am your host, Ryan Knightsey, and with me, as always, is the man, the myth, legend, Scotty Edwards. Scotty, how are you doing on this fine day? What do you think of AEW Double or Nothing 2024?
Why are the shows longer? Why are we getting longer? Like, listen. I
They got shorter at a certain point. They got to midnight and they stopped at a certain point.
long ago accepted midnight. Okay, I accepted this is the good end point. We're all happy here, right? And then tonight, I'm looking at the clock, and I think it was the Copeland Malachi Black match, and I said we still have the 3 main events to go. What are we doing? And it was like it had to be 10:30 at least when I looked at the clock, and I was like, this is never gonna end. Because Anarchy in the Arena, you're like, it's 40 minutes, right? It's 40 minutes, including entrances, probably at least. And it was. I'm not here to complain. The show was a bumpy road for me. I think that's the best way to say it. Some really good stuff, some not so great stuff. Shout out Chris Jericho. But you know, it's better than like World's End last year. It's better than Double or Nothing last year still for me. So does that matter? Is that good? That it's still better than Double or Nothing last year? I think that's at least a good barometer because that show last year was, not good.
Yeah, I have the 5 worst AEW pay-per-views in front of me, and we'll talk about we'll talk about those in comparison. I don't think this was a bad pay-per-view per se. I think it's not a great. I think it's one of those pay-per-views where it's solidly in the middle. Like I think a lot of the in-ring work was pretty solid to pretty good. I think the biggest struggle bus for this pay-per-view was its booking. I thought this took place in Las Vegas, Nevada, but instead it took place in Interference, Nevada.
Every match except for Cassidy and Beretta, had some sort of interference,
which was advertised as a straight singles match, straight singles wrestling match.
Which, yeah, exactly. Which is insane, by the way, that is the only match that had no sort of interference.
I'm trying to think what other interference there was. Juice came out of the trios, of course. Can't forget that. I mean, there wasn't really interference with the Takeshita match.
Callis threw in the chair.
Oh, that was Callis that threw in that chair. I don't think it was Callis. I thought it was Takeshita that threw in a bunch of chairs.
I thought it was Callis. I don't know. I don't remember. Either way,
it ended in, it had like that weird screwy chair finish. It was a lot of stuff. And it's not necessarily the booking of like who won and lost that's really the problem. It was just sort of how the matches were laid out and the finishes were sort of frustrating at a certain point in this pay-per-view. Like I said, the work I think was good in my opinion. It's just a lot of the layout of the matches.
Tony and Dave actually have interference?
No, some people are considering the storyline involvement
towel spot.
Towel. I don't count that as interference. That's just something happening on the outside. It didn't do anything that affected the match.
I thought it was a nice little story beat, truthfully.
It's driving the wedge between Luther and Mariah.
Shout out. Sorry.
Yeah.
I had to say it.
But
your favorite wrestler came back too. Of course.
Oh yeah.
Juice Robinson, baby.
Yeah, that's the
legitimate fist pump. Like you and me had talked about it. We're like, it's okay. The only way it's okay if the Bang Bang Gang wins is if Juice comes back. And then I saw that beautiful man show up in the corner, and I was like, yeah,
I
we'll
literally
rock
sat on
hard
my
tonight,
couch.
baby.
Sat on my couch, saw Juice, and did a double fist pump in the air, like, yes, baby, there we go. Juice is back. The juice is loose.
I don't know about that one, but okay.
The juice has been resurrected. No.
I hope not.
And also MJF, I think. And I guess Adam Cole. We already knew he was around. He never really left, so I'm not gonna really fully count him. But I guess he's back in terms of wrestling.
He's just all about that boom.
Look. If you're all about that boom lifestyle, you can't go wrong. I guess. Yeah, I don't know. The vibes were weird at a certain point. Did the crowd feel hot throughout? I don't know if it's my clogged eardrums currently.
Crowd was pretty hot. Crowd was loud.
Did the crowd sound hot to you?
I mean, the crowd died when matches deserved it to die.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much what happened. Like, it was loud. It was great for Willow Mercedes. It was great for Roddy and Ospreay. Through the main event, it was really hot, and then they kind of got tired finally.
Yeah.
They were hot for Deonna and Thunder Rosa at the beginning of the show, which I thought was interesting. I mean, it helps his first match, but they were loud. Yeah, no, they were pretty loud, and they were very loud for MJF.
Yes. Was that the loudest of the night?
Either him or Ospreay, probably.
Yeah, that's plausible.
CEO was pretty loud too.
Yeah. At her entrance, I'll say.
And the final countdown.
Yeah. We'll get to all the individual matches. Some people in the chat, Jeff Bugenhagen, immediate thoughts. Well, that was some hot garbage. Jeff did not like the pay-per-view. Kyle in the chat, what's good, fellas? Hope you're doing okay. I feel like I'm doing better. I changed my medication.
I was absolutely right with the second comment.
He says that show was long as fuck and not even on the East Coast. Very funny.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. And I will also say Kyle said need Juice Robinson versus Barbario Cavernario. That would be great. I mean, I see a lot of people online talking like worst pay-per-view,
of the year for AEW, sure.
I'm seeing a lot of people online saying that this was a fun pay-per-view. Would you describe this pay-per-view as fun?
If we cut out the middle.
Sure. The intermission, as what I said to you.
The longest intermission of the year. So, okay, I said this to you. I didn't have a problem with either of the trios match or Tony versus Deeb, but it was the Orange versus Trent to Cope versus Malachi Black stretch that I was just like, I need this show to hurry up. We need to get going here because this is long, and every match felt long. Like, everything felt so long, and the MJF 20-minute promo didn't help. You know, it's like
every match from Moxley to the main event was over 15 minutes. Moxley being the shortest at 17:20.
How long was Trent versus Orange?
13:55.
Oh my god, that match felt like 40 minutes to me. I was like, this is taking so long.
Third shortest on the main card.
What was the shortest?
Shortest being Bang Bang Gang versus Death Triangle at 12:20, followed by Jericho Hook Shibata at 12:40. Then
also felt like 40 minutes.
Cassidy Trent Beretta at 13:55. Jeff Bugenhagen in the chat. I saw a lot of people saying it was the best AEW pay-per-view ever. This match was 10 minutes too long.
Jeff, I can tell you this was not the best AEW pay-per-view ever. That was probably Revolution.
So I pulled up the 5 worst rated.
Again, not going to be one of the 5 worst.
All right, let's compare it. Let's compare it to the worst rated. Ready? AEW World's End 2023, the worst rated AEW pay-per-view. Main event, of course, Samoa Joe versus MJF here, with Samoa Joe winning the title. This also featured such matches as Eddie Kingston versus John Moxley in the Continental Classic final, Adam Copeland versus Christian Cage for the TNT title, and then Christian winning the title back immediately. Had a lot of duds near the beginning, like Miro versus Andrade, Tony Storm versus Riho, Swerve versus Dustin Rhodes. I don't even remember. Oh, yeah, that's the Keith Lee replacement one. Jericho, Darby, Sammy, and Sting versus Starks, Big Bill, Takeshita, and Hobbs, and then Julia Hart and Abaddon.
Yeah,
all
this
of
is better
those
than that show. Congratulations.
That one got a 5.69 on Cage Match. Do you think better?
I think World's End.
Yeah.
World's End was terrible.
All right, let's move right along then. All Out 2020.
I remember all these. You don't have to go through it. All Out 2020 stinks.
Main event.
Legitimately awful.
Main event being John Moxley versus MJF for the world title. Do you remember the first match on that card?
No.
This guy knows all of them.
Like, I remember the main I remember the main event, and that's good enough for me. I don't need to know.
Worst match on this card was the opener. Big Swole defeats Dr. Britt Baker in the tooth and nail match.
Oh, I remember that now. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. No, not the worst match on this card. Worst match on this card, Matt Hardy defeats Sammy Guevara, the Broken Rules.
Yeah, when he got the concussion. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, to be fair, I think a lot of the dud stuff was because
got the concussion 2 minutes into the match.
Yeah.
And then they got
better than this card.
Yes, this card is better.
Let's move on to Double or Nothing.
This card isn't a bottom 5 worst AEW pay-per-view of all time.
All right, no, I'm just making sure. Double or Nothing last year, 2023 main event. Anarchy Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah, it's better than that. We went through that earlier on today's show, and I said, "Oh man, this was rough, buddy."
Worst match on the card: Adam Cole versus Chris Jericho. All right, move along. Fight for the Fallen 2019.
Wow, Chris Jericho has a hell of a year streak going on here.
Yeah.
Worst match on the card.
Fight for the Fallen 2019 rated 6.68. Do you remember this
pay-per-view?
Yeah, not really on pay-per-view, but it was on, it's on the list. Main event being the Young Bucks versus Cody and Dustin Rhodes. There was also Shima versus Kenny Omega. There was Adam Page versus Kip Sabian in a 20-minute classic.
Oh, 20 minutes.
Brandy Rhodes versus Allie in a 10-minute match.
Yeah, you know when people say they want to go back to like the old AEW, that is not the one I hope they mean.
No. I think probably there's a lot of good matches actually on here. Omega Shima, Lucha Brothers versus SCU.
This was better than that show.
Okay, what about the highest rated bottom 5? Ready? This will be the real decider.
Okay.
Revolution 2021, 6.84 in a cage match. Main event, Omega versus Moxley exploding barbed wire death match.
Oh, that show was like really bad.
There's also such hits as the big money match, Adam Page defeating Matt Hardy.
Oh my god.
What else? The biggest stinker, Kip Sabian and Miro versus Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy. Just a straight tag.
This is the worst show. I remember this show because I remember Hikaru Shida versus Ryo Mizunami happened on this show.
Correct. Actually, it was a good match. I think it was. Best match on the show, according to Cage Match. 8.07.
Must I say more?
Ryo
Mizunami was never seen again in this company.
No offense to the women who wrestled here, but I think it says something when the women's match is like the best match on the AEW card. It's typically not.
Well, that was main evented by Kenny Omega and John Moxley specifically.
Yes. By the way, 4.5 stars from Dave for that match. I thought it was good, obviously up until the finish. But do you remember the Face of the Revolution ladder match with Cody Rhodes getting hurt and then being in
the Revolution ladder matches?
Remember when Cody got hurt and then he was just in the back in the tunnel?
Scorpio Sky won, didn't he?
Yeah, Scorpio Sky won that one.
Yeah, this is better. See, my point is that you're just going through pay-per-views that I know are deplorable compared to this.
Mm-hmm.
Last year had more shows that were worse than this. We just went through 2 of them.
Yeah.
Bad stinky popo.
Well, I think that gives her good thoughts. That I think I'm like dead middle. I think right now of pay-per-view.
Dead middle of AEW history pay-per-views.
Yeah, I think it's in middle 5. Not top 5, not bottom 5, middle 5, maybe.
There's a lot more pay-per-views than 15.
I did not think of my star ratings as I was watching this show. So I'm trying to think if there's any like great matches. Probably Ospreay Strong was a great match. And Mercedes
I
probably
love
was a great
two
match.
matches. I have yet to decide on what the hell I thought of the main event. I have yet to understand what I witnessed in that main event,
Yeah,
which is why we're going to talk that one through together.
yeah. Well, we'll start from the top to the bottom. So we'll start with the pre-show, which we'll just go through quickly. Deonna Purrazzo defeats Thunder Rosa singles match, 10 minutes and 15 seconds, and then Billy Gunn and the Acclaim defeat Cage of Agony, Brian Cage and Gates of Agony, Toa Leona, and Bishop Khan.
You want to know why Deonna versus Thunder was better than the other one?
I would love to know that.
It didn't have the Acclaimed in it.
People tell me the Acclaim are popular acts.
People try to tell me everybody loves the Acclaimed.
Oh yeah, I haven't heard those.
Anthony Bowens tries to tell me all the time, and I do not. I like Anthony Bowens. That's it.
I think there's no better way to sum up the Acclaimed than Anthony Bowens doing his like scissor thing to the crowd, and the person behind him having not only zero interest in what he's doing, but less than zero interest by just putting trash in his fingers, and then walk in, and that's it. And then he walks away and just like, oh, what the, and just trash.
No more Billy Gunn wrestling. Thank you.
Yeah, Billy Gunn did a lot in this match.
He won.
He got the pinfall.
Why did they have him pin people?
The roll up pin.
Either way, he won.
Yeah.
He won the match for them.
And of course, Deonna Purrazzo also the roll up on Thunder Rosa, but grabbing the ropes to get that victory to continue their rivalry.
Mm-hmm. I like Deonna as a heel.
I like Deonna as a heel as well. I think the match was well worked. I think I like that match more than the other one, but it did set this sort of tone of finishes for the show. You know, I'm not a lot of people are kind of like poopy on roll-ups because I think kind of WWE kind of ruined the idea of a roll-up as a cheap finish.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily consider it a cheap finish. I think it's, you know, a solid wrestling maneuver, but a roll-up with holding the ropes and then another roll-up, and then you're going to have another roll-up in Orange Cassidy versus Trent Beretta, and you know what I mean? It's just like that, plus interferences, plus different vampires showing up. Like, it's just going to be a theme that sort of starts here and lasts.
And I guess we'll talk about it when this review's over, but I watched this show in full, and I said to myself, I still don't know what the identity of current AEW is.
Ooh, and identity conversation. Here we go, baby.
Like, I still don't think it's back to like the sports-based thing like people wanted, like the alternative. Like, I still think it's very 50-50, and like there's some of the WWE is some sports entertainment stuff, and then there's some of the sport. And boy, oh boy, was that emphasized with Triple H. I mean, MJF returning.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we put a pin in this conversation until we wrap back around to MJF?
Yeah. No, that's why I just brought it up, and then we can get going here with the first match.
First match being Will Ospreay defeating Roderick Strong to become the new AEW International Championship. I think the conversation here for you and I is that you and I had a conversation based off of something you've heard on, I believe it was the Mike and JD show is what you heard it from. They had a whole conversation about the booking ideas of basically sidetracking Will Ospreay off the world title picture onto the international title picture.
Sure.
Obviously, that conceit is based off the idea that he
notably did it with all three of their new signings.
Yes, notably very correct.
Titles.
Obviously, this is under the conceit that he's eventually going to be world champion, but come on, it's Will Ospreay. Of course, he's going to be world champion at some point.
It was under the idea that we all thought he was going to be the all-in challenger.
Yeah, the Wembley challenger.
Specifically.
Which, you know, maybe he wins the Owen at this rate. Mm-hmm. We'll get to the Owen.
That was pre-show, by the way.
We had a whole conversation on Slack about their idea and talking about the idea of sidetracking Ospreay and whether or not that hurts him. And now that he wins the international championship, he is now focused on this title. Will he be the Wembley guy, or is he just going to be doing his own thing for however long? I mean, could this hurt him as a star? Because, you know, lightning in a bottle happens every once in a while. You got to lie my thoughts in Slack, so I want to really start with your thoughts on this old sidetracking Ospreay conversation before I sort of lay it out for the rest of the audience. In my opinion, what did you think about it all?
I mean, it's very apparent that's what they're doing. It is. To me, it feels like we are punting on the idea of doing the challenge this year and potentially waiting till next year. Which is, I don't know if it's good or bad, because we've seen in wrestling where people can stay hot for a long time. Cody Rhodes, for example. And if, as they were talking about, it's like, is Ospreay going to make it his mission, notably like on camera, that, oh, I want a main event all in Wembley and win the world title? Like, is that what he's gonna do? Is he gonna make that his mission statement? I don't know. And I guess that's gonna be a big part of how the next month or two goes as we build to All In. Maybe they still do have him challenge. I don't know, but the international title tells me he's not. I think we can kind of agree on that for now. The international
Has
title
he
tells
said
me
that specifically about Wembley on AEW television?
No.
Yeah.
No, so that's the thing, and I think we've all just kind of accepted that felt like the reality, right? Like, after last year, it almost felt like, all right, we waited a year, we can do another one, but he wasn't even signed to the company yet. Greatest negotiation I've ever seen, by the way. Here, you can win a match in the biggest show, in your backyard.
What is this, WrestleMania?
I know. So it's like, I don't know how to fully feel yet, but it does feel like, and I don't mind punting on it. It's just, do you really think this company, the way it's being run right now, can keep him hot that long? I don't know.
And I think that was more of what my
There would need to
response
be a
was.
roadmap, by the way. There would need to be a roadmap for the AEW World Championship leading into all of next year, right now.
Sure.
Like,
Sure.
Swerve to Hangman to Ospreay, that can work.
Mhm.
I could see that working very easily. But is
Mhm.
that the roadmap? I don't know.
This sort of leads into one of my big points is that I think, Ospreay, a lot of people have dubbed him as the modern day Ric Flair. And I think if he's the modern day Ric Flair, it doesn't really matter how long you punt him because he will get over despite, punting or despite, the company not being hot or whatever. He will get over. There's the idea of, if you went with him right now, you could possibly turn business around a little bit, which I completely understand. But at the same time, you could wait on Ospreay. He's that damn good. He will elevate no matter what. It's in the title of his song. And the other problem is that he came in at a time when you're in the process of elevating Swerve, a guy that does not have the I'll say the wrestling ability, the charisma, whatever, the it factor that Ospreay has. I don't think that's a controversial take. I think it's just what it is. If you crumple up
I
your
think he has the
plans,
charisma.
he probably has the charisma. I think that's fair. But he's not this wrestler that Ospreay is. I think if you crumple up your plans and put the title on Ospreay immediately and put him in the title picture immediately, then you would have the chance to actively hurt Swerve at a point where you can now create another star to go up against an Ospreay, to go up against a Page, up against all these other guys. So I think that's more important, where you can sort of punt Ospreay a little bit because he is going to remain hot. Because as Jeff Bugenhagen says in the chat, as long as Ospreay puts on bangers, he'll be happy. I just want wrestling, and that's what Ospreay does. So that's why I'm not too concerned about punting him and not doing Wembley main event this year. Sort of building up. He has a singles match against Jericho. He's now going to have an AEW International title defense at Wembley, I have to imagine. And then next year could be the world title match at Wembley. I mean, the idea is that he's here multiple years. He doesn't have to have the Wembley match this year,
Yeah, I just don't have the confidence in this company.
And I get that.
I don't know if they can do the Cody thing. It's the Cody thing. It's the Naito thing, right? We're just calling it the Cody thing now because it's the most recent, right?
Yeah,
It's a
Danielson WrestleMania thing.
Right. It's a long-term wrestling thing. It's the long-term story of the big babyface star getting the moment. And can they wait that long? I don't know. But like Jeff said, like you talked about, if he continuously puts on great matches and can tell a great story. Because here's my idea. Now that he has this international title, you have a natural story with the Callis family to tell for the next 6 months, truthfully. Like there is a genuine story. If you play your cards right, you can tell. With I would hope Takeshita taking this belt. You have to rebuild Takeshita now because he only loses, but you can do that. You could take the time to do that, right? And tonight was different. He didn't lose clean necessarily. He lost.
And I think he looked pretty dominant up until he got hit in the face of a chair.
Right. Basically. Exactly. So to me, that has to be the mindset moving forward. Is move with Ospreay is that's going to be the long-term story. And whatever you do for All In for him obviously has to be huge. Hiroshi Tanahashi's here on the scrum. Just rolling on it. So I think that's kind of like my take on it is if you can it works if you tell the story and you keep him busy and then come whether it be the Owen next year, because you would expect the Owen to continue this streak now.
Yep.
He can come up short this year because of the Don Callis thing. And then there's your story for All In for him. Okay, he didn't get his moment. You can create the idea that he wants that moment heading into the Owen this year. And then he fails because of Don Callis. You build whatever. Maybe it's Takeshita, maybe it's not. I don't know. And then naturally, you can do it again. You can bring it back next year. It's kind of easy. It's just like, can AEW do it with him? Because who have they done it with? Have they done this? Is it Hangman technically the one time they did it?
Yeah, I would say Hangman from day one to beating Omega.
Yeah, so that's the one. If you can kind of follow that mindset, and I wouldn't mind if Hangman was that world champion he beat next year at all. I think that'd be
the irony of doing that on Ospreay 2 page is very nice.
Yes, it's kind of like I mean, it wasn't as long as a wait, but it's when Kofi Kingston beat Daniel Bryan. It was like, who was the last person to have the big moment? It was Daniel Bryan, obviously. So it's like, it's fun little thing, and then obviously their history and whatnot. So we'll see. But I mean, the match itself is here.
To your point, is like the last time that we can really pinpoint that feeling, at least, I think, where they captured this lightning moment in a bottle and they were able to sustain it for so long is Adam Page. Right. And that company is not this company anymore. And I think that's where a lot of the fear is like you said, I don't have the confidence in this company to pull it off. This company previously pulled it off with Adam Page, but this company, 2 years, 3 years later, or whatever, is a different company,
Right.
It's a question of whether or not they can do that again. And I mean, it's Will Ospreay. And my point is, like, they're not doing it with, I don't know, they're not doing it with AR Fox. I said them earlier. They're not doing it with AR Fox. They're doing it with Will Ospreay, one of the best wrestlers in the world, who has been the best wrestler in the world for like the past 5 years since the company has been around. So like, it's one of those things of like, I'm not too concerned, because if it was with somebody else, maybe it'd be like, oh, I don't know. You got to make sure it works out. You don't want to ruin making a star or anything. It's like, well, Ospreay's already kind of a star.
How do you feel about them taking on the idea of the King of the Ring, the Royal Rumble type thing now? With the Owen.
Oh, I didn't read that as Royal Rumble. I read that as they watched King and Queen of the Ring.
Well, I said both.
Yeah, they watched King and Queen of the Ring, and they're like, "Oh, we should do that too." And then there's like, "Oh yeah, we talked about it in December."
To me, it's the idea of taking someone who won a big tournament and they automatically go to the main event of whatever show.
I'm okay with it. I don't I don't know. I don't have like an opinion on
Like
whether or
to
not
me, it
it's
works
Wembley or
this
not.
year.
Yeah. I don't really have an opinion on whether or not it matters for Wembley. Like I really don't necessarily have an opinion on that. I think I do, and I am happy that they added these stipulations to the Owen because that is something that was aggressively missed at the past two tournaments for the past
You
2
telling me
years.
Ricky Starks didn't enjoy winning for nothing?
You could
Willow
see
didn't
all over his
enjoy
face
winning
how
for
happy he
nothing.
was to hold a belt that won't matter ever again.
Woo! I don't think he ever held it again after that one day.
No, they never do. I don't think Adam Cole or Britt Baker did as well.
I think he might have because he won it on the pay-per-view. I think he had it on the show after, and then they never saw it again.
Yeah. So I'm glad that they added that stipulation. It was aggressively missing from the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Do I care about it being at Wembley? I don't necessarily not like I'm apathetic. You could have it at Wembley. It doesn't matter. I mean, the idea being Wembley being your sort of like you said, Royal Rumble, like Wembley being your big time WrestleMania-esque show, like fine, that works. It's fine. That sets up the idea of this being Royal Rumble, this being the G1, this idea of like they're not breaking the wheel by doing a tournament that sets up a title match for your big time main event of your big time show. I think as Kyle puts in the chat, you got to put the big names to make it even bigger. You can't just have a bunch of scrubs. You got to have your Ospreays, your Adam
You can't
Pages.
have your past Owen. Yeah, you can't have like the 4 big names and then, I'm not going to say Air Fox because you've said it about 10 times today, but like that. You can't have you can't have Kyle Fletcher in it. Kyle Fletcher's a loser on AEW TV,
Mm-hmm.
even though he has a belt, he's a loser.
Yeah, he's a winner in Ring of Honor. He's a loser in AEW.
I will keep an eye on Mercedes because she seems pretty important.
Is Mercedes out now?
Yes. I think Tanahashi's just sitting there, which is very funny. But
hey, Forbidden Door, baby.
I'm kind of hoping to like announce a match or something. Just get the Forbidden Door. It's a month away. Like we're not saving a lot of time here. Forbidden Door is a month away, almost to the date. So
they're kicking it Wednesday.
Let's talk about this match. Let's get to the show. Let's get this over with.
Yeah, did we not actually talk about Ospreay Strong? I feel like I teed it up.
Did we say a word about the match?
Oh yeah, the match itself I thought was really well done.
Interference happened in this match.
Interference happened in the match.
Wardlow got in the ring.
Yeah, Wardlow got in the ring, teased a powerbomb. They did the dive to the outside that Matt Taven fucked up on. That's whatever.
That was terrifying.
That was terrifying. Yeah, I thought it was well worked. I thought, it's the thing of if the crowd is into it and the crowd can get over the interferences and the babyface can win, then it worked. Sure. You know what I mean? It's the House of Torture thing. It's the thing I talked about with Tama Tonga, the thing I talked about with Yota Tsuji in these House of Torture matches, right? I hate to keep bringing that up, but it's obviously the lightning rod. If the crowd is invested in the babyface, immensely invested in the babyface, and the babyface can overcome the interferences and overcome everything and ultimately get the win, and the crowd's with them the entire time, these things work. Problem is you can't do it the entire time, but it worked here because it was the first one and the crowd was still into it because, again, it's Will Ospreay. So, yeah, the crowd was into it. I thought the match was really well done. Will Dave give it a 5-star match? No. I don't think so. I think he's going to break that streak. Finally. It's Dave Flation, so who knows? But Dave. I thought it was really well. I think is it the best match in ring?
My second favorite match of the show, probably.
Yeah, I think it's that or Willow. Anarchy in the Arena was. We'll get to that.
Again, I still have yet to.
Yeah.
Decide.
I think it was. It's if not the best one, at least number 2.
Yeah, that's for sure. Wait, what?
The Ospreay, yeah, Ospreay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I thought this was great. It was nice to see Roddy actually wrestle. Doesn't happen much, but we get to see Roddy wrestle. I don't think I was like blown away from it as in like, Ospreay's past few pay-per-view matches, right? He had obviously went from Takeshita to Danielson. It just doesn't come to the same league as those, in my opinion, like even close. But it's still a great match. I thought Roddy was on top of his game, and it was a perfect opener for the show. I thought it was very hot, as you'd want for an opener. And I'd like to see Roddy and the Kingdom like wrestle, like as a trio or something. I know that's a crazy idea, wrestle, but that would be nice. It would be nice. It'll be interesting to see what Ospreay does with this belt. I could see him defend it a lot on TV and whatnot, which I'm starting to think you might want to make him a little more special in terms of where you plug his matches. Like they plugged him on Collision like 2 weeks in a row or something. Like he wrestled like Shane Taylor and someone random. I was like, I think part of the mystique for some people with Ospreay is the big match. So maybe don't give him away every single week. Does that make sense? Like, you can give them away sometimes if they're title matches. Now it's fine. But like when we're just doing random matches, it's like he doesn't need to build himself up for this international title match. I know he's ready for it. He's beaten Takeshita and Danielson on pay-per-view.
I know he's like left the indies, but what I want out of this run is
him to go back to the
matches
indies.
on television when they happen. Matches on television when they happen. But
Sure.
also Ospreay working in Rev Pro, working in some other, Euro indies, working maybe like Japan a little bit, going to like Australia and wrestling with this title against various people, going to Uganda and wrestling. Like I want him to, and it's anybody can do it. It's Will Ospreay.
You want them to use the purpose of the international title finally.
Correctamundo. I want him to wrestle internationally with this title. Pac teased that idea when he had the title. You wrestle Rev Pro a little bit. I want that to extend out with Ospreay. Right. And I think he is obviously the person that could do that.
Yeah, I could see him. I could actually see him do a double shot for Rev Pro and All In on that weekend.
Oh yeah, if he does a title defense on,
I could see that be his big grand return to Rev Pro. Actually, maybe they save it for that.
Their 11th anniversary or whatever it is. 12th, maybe, I don't know.
It's a number.
It's one of those numbers. It's a numbered anniversary.
There is.
Yeah, a really good match, I thought.
All right, let's get to your favorite part of the show. Come on, he's here.
So yeah. Well, first off, we got to talk about it. Adam Cole comes out. He's walking. He's talking. He says the crowd sucks for reasons I don't remember why the crowd sucks, because he had to be out there. He's got the devil pocket in his pocket, devil mask in his pocket, and that's all good. And then the lights go out. You get a video package that's played of like a POV of MJF or whatever in his like weird empty bedroom in his house. And the Mark shrine that he made for himself takes up an entire bedroom. And then MJF returns. He looks at Adam Cole, gives him a brainbuster, and then proceeds to cut a 20-minute promo. Should be said, he came out looking like 2000s Triple H when he returned from that
looking
double
like
quad.
Triple H, cutting promos like Triple H. He is Triple H.
Yes, he is no longer MJ Hogan. He is now a triple MJF. You heard it here first, folks. Yeah, so what did you think about this promo? I have thoughts. What do you think about this promo? I started tweeting my thoughts as well, but I want to hear what you think.
I don't want to say my exact comment on here because it's a little rude, maybe. But I was halfway through. I was like, "Shut the fuck up!" I was like, "Come on, man, get to the point." Like this is taking forever because he would do like the goofy stuff, and I was like, "My God, I don't care." Like this is MJF. This is MJF. Listen, the MJF that is the complete MJF experience. Ospreay's bowing to Tanahashi. Oh yeah, he left your company. like I was hoping, I was really hoping like we just get this fiery, passionate promo. You know what he does really well. You know, the stuff that we saw in the Punk stuff or with Regal once upon a time. Remember that way back? You know, that type of thing. And got a little of that. Brought up last year, and I was like, oh, I don't want to bring up last year. And he's looking at this devil mask, and then he starts beating it up, and then he does the stupid Ric Flair thing, and I was like, oh my God, dude. And he starts yelling, and they show this a terrible tattoo. I'm happy he learned more from Cody Rhodes. Was very upset that he wouldn't learn that. He did make the one line I did like before the DiCaprio one from Wolf of Wall Street was the I didn't need New Japan. I didn't need Vince like I don't need the Vince McMahon comment. I wish he said like WWE. Truthfully, I wish we didn't do the whole Vince McMahon because I'd never want to bring up Vince McMahon ever in wrestling. I understand why he did it because he wanted the pop, like he wanted the reaction. I liked the idea of I'm calling out everyone here because they've either been to New Japan or WWE. I liked that idea of it. I didn't like the way he did it. I didn't like the Vince McMahon comment. I understand it rhymes, so that's mostly why he did it. Because like the New Japan, like, oh, that's a shot at Ospreay. The WWE thing, oh, that's a shot at Swerve, right? But he said Vince McMahon, and I was like, that you blew it.
Yeah. Also, to be fair, a lot of these people are NXTers, not really
right. So it had to be Triple H,
man.
Which would have been wicked. Okay, so if he said Triple H while dressed like Triple H, would have been wicked funny. You know.
But I think what you're saying is very emblematic of like MJF, right? Is that like he says a lot of things and they sound nice on paper, but then like he, you know, brings up Vince McMahon. He's wearing a Triple H garb. He's doing the Ric Flair gimmick. You know, he's you got the Cody tattoo. Luckily, he's smart enough to not hide it out in the open, but he puts it underneath his boot, so he's not truly. You know, if he goes to WWE, it's just hidden. It doesn't really matter. It's just like, you know, I saw a lot of people praising the promo. And I saw some people who've buried the company in the past, calling it sports entertainment, and then seeing that promo and saying wrestling is back. And I'm just like arm's length at this guy. Is that this guy in the past, even in last year, at points on Twitter or points on promos said that he's, you know, oh, it hasn't been too good, but I'm gonna, you know, bring back the feeling and all these, restore the feeling and all that jazz. And then like 2 weeks later, he's back to sports entertainment bullshit. And it's like, and what he's saying is nice, but he's doing it while also doing a bunch of catchphrases and dressing up like Triple H and and you know, doing mannerisms like Flair and all these sort of things. And it's like, you know, you didn't grow up you didn't work in New Japan and you didn't work with Vince McMahon, but you certainly idolize his wrestling company and do a lot of the shit that they did. And it's one thing to dunk on the mask and dunk on last year's storylines, but whose storylines were those, MJF?
Exactly.
Those were yours. Those were your ideas that you wanted to push and that you felt needed to last the entire year, that
you don't like this one.
Injured would probably continue past World's End. You know, this was all your thing. I'm not going to forgive you for suddenly realizing that this is a bad idea. If anything, you're reminding me that you had shitty stories, and just because you are barking up, you have yet to prove that bite. That bite actually, you know, follows by actually doing stuff in the ring that isn't not just sports entertainment. You could say, oh, all that silly stuff is over that everyone's been complaining about. But first of all, you're the one that did it, and you haven't proved it to me. Because while you're doing it, again, you're dressed up like Triple H, you're doing Ric Flair stuff, and then you get a hokey, dumb little Mark tattoo. Like, prove it. I'm at this point. You cannot cry wolf again, MJF. You have to Prove it to me that you are past the sports entertainment and you are becoming a real guy in a company that has gotten more sports entertainment by people like you. You are the reason the business went down. You are the reason a lot of sports entertainment got pushed ahead and okayed. Don't tell me that, oh, what happened last year was dumb. You are the problem. Go ahead.
So, you know what this problem reminded me of with like the blaming everything that he did himself? It was very, we're going to listen to you, the people. Remember that? When they blame
This is all
Constable
Baron
Corbin?
Corbin's fault.
Yeah. And it's like, it's not his fault. It's your fault. You're the one that did this, you know? And that's very, so like for me,
It's very gaslighty.
It's very gaslighty. It's very WWE, which is
the irony.
Hello. So it's like, here's the thing for me moving forward with MJF. Just wait to see. You know, it's like, I'm not going to have full confidence in this guy until he proves it to me for like a multiple month stretch. I'm not talking 2. I'm talking like 3 months in a row. Strong story, strong build. I know he's a good wrestler in the ring. I'm not going to deny that. I think you will agree to that too. He's a good wrestler in the ring. But my God, he uses his out of ring stuff to ruin that too half the time. So I'm worried. Because here's the thing. I want to like MJF the wrestler. I do. Because the idea of MJF the wrestler is like the CM Punk stuff that he did. Right? It's fantastic. That's fantastic. But boy, howdy, am I not, to take a line from Ryan, boy, howdy, am I not feeling confident. But we'll see. Right? We'll see.
Yeah. I'm arm's length, you know, and then just also like hearing that promo and seeing the rest of the company, you know, if people want to talk about sidetracking Ospreay and hurting the star potential of Ospreay and, you know, oh, we don't trust the company. It's like, I don't trust MJF and I don't know how you can, honestly. He is one of the big reasons why 2023 sucked for me in my AEW viewing. He got me to the point of like, I don't know if how much I want to watch. I'm limiting my viewing. I'm like, oh, I'm not watching Rampage anymore. I'm probably not going to watch Collision anymore. I'll try to keep up with Dynamite, but like he is the big reason of that, and I don't understand why you can suddenly, after bashing the company for weeks or months or whatever, and then he cuts one impassioned promo that he's good at, and then suddenly be like, wrestling is back. You know, I don't understand how people can think that way, and there are people out there that are thinking that way, and you gotta give this guy, you gotta separate himself. You gotta separate himself from all this stuff. I don't know. He wrestling could be back with MJF. I don't know. The way what he is saying versus his presentation are opposites to me. And I don't, you know, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't know what flavor of ice cream this is gonna be, Scotty, but I'm dubious that it looks like chocolate, but it's
Did you ever do the jelly bean game where it's like you don't know what the jelly bean tastes like? That is MJF.
Yeah.
that is the MJF experience. That is him in every single way. And I think that's the best way to look at it, right? It's like, I don't know what this is going to taste like. Maybe it'll be good. So, like, you and me are going to talk about MJF a lot moving forward, obviously. It's almost like we should have an MJF tracker for Ring Post Radio. It's like, what did he do this week?
Can we have a tracker that is like, we'll start him dead middle at 5, right? 1 sports entertainment, 10 pro wrestling, and each week we'll sort of update the tracker.
Yeah,
where MJ
make a nice little graphic for that.
Yeah, I can whip something up in Canada.
Okay, nice little tracker. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
By the way, they're steamrolling through this presser because of how late the show was. They've gone through Mercedes. No, they've gone through the Young Bucks first.
Mm-hmm.
Then Tony and Hiroshi Tanahashi came out. Tanahashi's just sitting there looking like a beautiful human. And Renee's also there.
He's the president.
Yeah. And then Mercedes came out. She's gone. Ospreay came out. He's gone. Tony just came out. She left.
Tony Storm.
Yeah. So here's if there's anything that like I've kept track of anything notable. Matt and Nick just did like character stuff. They're like, people aren't grateful for what we did with this company. And they talked about their shoe, and Barry Bloom was there. They talked about how Final Countdown put them in a hole tonight. Tanahashi spoke in English saying he was inspired by the show. And Tony Khan said New Japan is great and they want what's best for it. Are you sure about that? You sure about that? I saw who was in that main event. I'm just kidding. I'm not. So let's get to Mercedes. Mercedes is the big point here. She talked about how AEW has saved her life, and she said, and I quote, WWE is not the only place in wrestling. She said AEW is where the best wrestle. Tony Khan had a big smile on that one. She said she was cleared for contact in December. Not to wrestle necessarily. She was cleared to contact. That's when she started training, notably. Mercedes says Tony told her she was debuting on Friday and asking her if she could wait for Double or Nothing to debut in ring. Mercedes said, "Bitch, I'm patient." Fairly in character, per Trevor Dame. The notable stuff. She was asked, is there anyone in Japan she'd like to defend her title against? She mentioned Forbidden Door and said Tanahashi can come up with an opponent. That's what she said. So, big time letdown from your boy there. If rumors are to be believed, the challenger may not be from Japan. Anyways,
interesting.
They talked about doing a show in El Paso for some reason.
Well, because Eddie.
Yeah, and they said sure. She gave congrats to the Celtics. Shouts out. Which is random. Will Ospreay then showed up. He said let's get weird when he would like to have an international presence with the international title. He would like to bring prestige back to the title. He considers this belt the Forbidden Door. Oh my God, we're going to change the name of the belt again. It's going to be the Forbidden Door Championship. He noted that AEW talent is allowed to work New Japan, Rev Pro, MCW in Australia. I didn't know that one. And CMLL. He also added he doesn't think he's allowed to work someone in Stardom, which I found funny. I think that's correct. He talked about his family. He said someone could work as hard as me, be my fucking guest. And then he did Mercedes dance and left. Oh, and he said, asked about the and he said if he'd be interested in working, seeing as how the winner challenges to the world title. Will says if there's an opportunity for the world title, he will be putting his name in that race.
So he ultimately talked about what I mentioned of like, I would like to see him going everywhere. He mentioned a bunch of indies that he has worked in the past. He has relationships with that I would expect to see him in the future. I think that's where we're headed.
Yeah. Tony gave us absolutely nothing. So swerves out there. We can get back to doing our review.
All right. Next up, Bang Bang Gang, Jay White and the Guns versus Death Triangle, Pac, Ray Phoenix, and Penta. Of course, the finish here was Pac going for high top rope move. Juice Robinson makes the interference spot. Jay White hits the Blade Runner and gets the win.
Fine match. Didn't really. It was all about Juice.
It always is. It had a lot of good action, especially from Death Triangle.
Yes. I don't remember Jay White and the Guns doing anything besides getting beat up.
Yeah. There was something missing from it all.
Mm-hmm.
Death Triangle really held a lot of the action, and they would, when they would speed up and they would start going is when the crowd would get back into this match. It was really Jay White and the Guns who weren't bad. It was just like they were just kind of
They were just the basis for the 3, really.
Mm-hmm.
But Juice is back, so literally nothing else matters. The Bang Bang Gang is now real. I'm not even kidding to you how happy I was when Juice came back. I miss this man, and they miss this man.
The
Do you think he's
chaos.
gonna bring Card Blade back as well? The more exciting Jay White.
A good question. A good question.
There's many important things. When he was holding all the titles, I was like, yes, yes, yes. This is the vision. Give Juice all the belts. I'm still upset they didn't win the tag belts, by the way.
Yeah. The alternate reality where Juice never left. Juice never got injured. Yeah, no, I thought the match was good, fine. I don't know, like a 3, like solid. I don't think Jay White and the gang were the Bang Gang were that bad. It was just sort of they were missing something, and I was hoping for a little more. And I didn't get that.
Yeah,
I never do.
I don't mean to be that guy, but next match. Starting to yawn over here.
That's Kyle, fine match. Juice coming back was hype for me. Brandon Sandman, what was your match of the night? I think he came in late, so we're gonna say right now I'm leaning Ospreay strong is my match of the night. I think
mine is Mercedes and Willow.
Shocker, shocker from Scotty over here.
I'm not very difficult. If Mercedes was out there with her working boots, it was gonna be pretty easy.
And we'll get to it later in the show.
To be fair, I didn't think there was that many picks to begin with.
Yeah. Later, we'll get it later in the show. Jeff Bugheim. What about the Fangin' and Bangin' Gang? That's so hard to say. The Fangin' and Bangin' Gang? Oh, my God.
Fangin' and Bangin' Gang?
Next up.
Edge needs a new knee, so I'm not worried about that one.
Hard, yeah. Timeless Tony Storm defeats Serena Deeb, 15 minutes.
That was pretty good.
I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, like 3 1/4, like pretty good.
I had a good time.
Continue the storyline, with the
I love that part, actually. I love that. Mariah May's one. I'm gonna throw in the towel. It's like, oh shit. Oh, here we go. And then when Tony gets out of the ring, because Luther had pulled it from Mariah, she sees Luther with the towel, and it's like, oh no, the dissension. And plain and simple, the best usage of the Owen is Mariah May winning it now. It is perfectly made. Natural way to get there. I was so happy. Like, I didn't even think about the world title when it was announced. I was like, oh my God, this is perfect for Toni Storm. I was like, this is great. I didn't even give a second thought to the other part of this. Mariah's doing her job great. I thought Tony's really turned the corner, right? She has been a lot better since that Azumi match. I keep bringing that up because that was the first time I saw her wrestle again. Serena Deeb was good as a challenger, normal stuff. No complaints. Super pile driver from the top. Terrifying stuff. Terrifying.
Yeah.
Storm Zero from the top. You kidding me? That's nuts. But yeah, good match. And I thought they did a really good job, all things considered. One of the stronger matches on the show. Truthfully, like, it hit the level I was wanting it to hit, which I appreciate.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I totally agree that finish was really well done. I was concerned about the heel face dynamics, and they kind of understood it by the match starting. Obviously D was supposed to be the face. I was thinking to myself, like, why they try to, outface Toni Storm with Deeb's story, and it just didn't work because I think Deeb is just such a better heel, and obviously the crowd super into Timeless Toni Storm. So, you're not going to be able to really change things up there. But I think they did a good job of sort of like the gray areas of Serena Deeb, of like she's doing a lot of like calling up the crowd and stuff, but even then the crowd boos her, and that's fine. All these things are fine. I thought the story with the towel, they continued it from Mariah May, and did it here. They created division with Luther and Toni Storm, and then they did a cool ass finish to end it. I mean, it might be 3.5. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for
a good match. It was a
Good,
good match.
solid match.
The women delivered on this show. I thought all 3 matches did the job that they needed to.
Yeah, I agree.
Because they're continuing Deonna and Thunder, so I didn't need that to be a big
in the rare tradition. The women's matches. I don't think the women's matches were any of the bad ones. I think all the bad ones were some of the men's ones.
The division is getting better, and you're feeling that in real time.
Next up, let's get your thoughts on the advertised straight singles match. No interference. No, we're gonna get one fall. This is a Continental Classic. No interferences. Straight singles wrestling match. 13 minutes 55 seconds. Orange Cassidy defeats Trent Beretta. Scotty, what did you think of Orange Cassidy defeating Trent Beretta?
I think I tweeted at you that your MJF, like your fear of MJF, is my having to watch an Orange Cassidy pay-per-view match. Couldn't have done less for me, this match. I was like, why is this a pay-per-view match? If you pull this match and everything from this pay-per-view and just put it on like Dynamite, you know how much time we save? Enough that this pay-per-view ends on a normal time. I don't care. Like, do you care about this story? You made the great point. This was missing the Batista and Rey Mysterio. You were my best friend or whatever moment. I don't really remember the quote. But I was like, and I said to you, yeah, it's also missing Batista. And then you were like, and Rey Mysterio. I was like, yeah, this is missing.
It was a missing for Orange. I would say Orange, but really it would be Trent. Just holding Orange and just being like, "You are my best friend," and then just slamming him into the pole. That's really what I was missing, in my opinion. But yeah, no, it. I don't know. I don't necessarily think that was. I didn't hate it as much as you did, but it definitely was. I don't know. Again, it feels like it was missing something. I would have liked, I know I'm ragging on interferences and whatnot. I would have liked maybe a sort of like Chuck Taylor limps his way out to the ring and motivates Orange or something to get the win. That would have been nice. I don't know, tie up that idea. I don't know. That could have been fun. I don't know. It's just missing something. And then you get the finish. With Orange picking up the win, picking up a roll-up win. Trent leaving. Rocky is there to try to comfort him. And then you get the call of Trent saying, "No, I'm not doing this. I'm done," to Renee, and then leaving through the crowd. What do you think that means, Scotty? What do you think "I'm done" and then leaving through the crowd means for old Trenny B?
He's a liar, and he's going to attack Orange Cassidy when Callis offers him a contract to sign with Don Callis. He ain't done. This feud somehow is going to continue.
Yeah, I fully think, by the way, he's joining the Don Callis family. You see that black and red? That's Don Callis family.
Do we like that? I don't, but whatever.
It's fine. I'm fine with it.
Doesn't excite you.
No, I mean, I thought afterwards of, okay, now where do the two of these guys go?
Mm-hmm.
Don Callis family makes sense for Trent Beretta. That doesn't excite me, but it's something for him to do. And he can maybe team up with like somebody. Fletcher. I mean, there's a lot of big dudes in that group. So I don't know if he might stick out like a sore thumb.
Well, what's his name's gone forever. Not forever, but he hurt his knee. So
you're talking about Hobbs?
Hobbs is out for a while, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean that could be fair. So it might be a good idea to add him. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just sort of like,
excited for Will Ospreay versus Trent Beretta, since he fights all of the members.
Yeah, I mean that's totally plausible. I think that's totally plausible. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's gonna be. I think there's something there for Trent Beretta to move forward, assuming he's not like retiring as well. I mean, to be fair though, he could also be done. I mean, 5-year contract probably for Trent Beretta. He's at the tail end of it. Contracts coming due. Do you renew Trent Beretta? Do you really need to?
Listen,
I mean, no offense to Trent Beretta, but like, Do you need a? He's no longer. You signed him as a tag team that no longer exists.
I had this conversation with my friend that I was watching the show with. I said Trent Beretta feels like the guy that overachieved in every way, shape, and form. Like, he doesn't jump off the page at anything. You know, he's just like a good hand.
Yeah.
He's a, I don't want to compare.
No.
But he's like a better, like, Sean Spears, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Good tag team wrestler, obviously. You know, whether it be best friends or Roppongi. Always loved Roppongi. Roppongi Vice is really good. But it just feels like him as a singles guy just doesn't do much for me. I wouldn't mind if Rocky went heel and they run Roppongi.
That would be nice. I think they're teasing.
That would be way more exciting to me.
I think they are definitely teasing that idea. 100%. 100%. I think they're teasing it. And maybe maybe they don't go Don Callis family. Maybe unless Don Callis brings in Roppongi Vice, you know.
I'm cool with that. Give them a tag team.
Mm-hmm.
See, I wouldn't mind that. I like Roppongi. Roppongi.
I had a feeling this was coming.
Roppongi Vice.
Roppongi Nights? Is that what Roppongi Lights? This was.
I have no idea. Just singing. I'm still singing. Yeah, this match stink. Speaking of matches that stink, let's get to the next one.
Any more updates from the press conference?
Swerve said that while MJF was gone, he was building. He made this place a fortress. AEW made a major shift. I don't know if that's true. And he wants a shot. He'll have to earn it. He said MJF's going to earn his shot. He ain't handing out shit. He didn't say that, but I added that. They talk about Floyd Mayweather. I couldn't care less.
Yeah, that was Floyd, right? I was like,
yeah, that was Floyd.
I was like, what, Floyd? What are you doing here?
And then Swerve was gone. He talked about being in a good mood. Talk about Floyd, like I said, and MJF.
Well, speaking of MJF, what do you think about this? Do you think this works?
By the way,
do you think this works as the MJF rating?
That's perfection. By the way, Tanahashi is there. That is incredible. Absolutely incredible. It's very well done. I can't wait to edit that every week. Or have you edit it every week. But I want to point out, you know, Tanahashi is considered there as backup. That's why he's there to back Tony
to defend Tony Khan.
No offense, but he clearly hasn't seen Tanahashi walk for a while.
Well,
they should have the scapegoat on the thing.
That has interesting Forbidden Door implications.
Yep. So you gonna fight the scapegoat?
Ooh, he could. He could.
Good. All right, Chris Jericho versus Cassidy, Shibata versus Hook. Let's get this over with.
Yeah, FTW title match. Obviously, FTW rules. Is the name.
This match did not rule. If you're wondering,
basically Hook and Shibata beating on Jericho the entire time. When he pulled out the bag, obviously I knew it was going to be something gimmicky. It wasn't going to be thumbtacks. You know, they did the hockey pucks last time. I was on my couch sitting there being like, chips, like poker chips. Like, oh, here we go, poker chips. And then he dropped the bag.
I thought you meant potato chips.
No. I was like, chips. He drops the bag, and then I'm like, dice, which was my big moment of the match. And the match happens until Big Bill gets involved, almost gets impaled by a table. Speaking of tables, Shibata overshooting a table spot was insane.
He got pinned, though.
He got pinned, and he got pinned because a masked vigilante comes to the scene and attacks Shibata, and Hook reveals himself to be Brian Keith, and not fully clear if he's aligned with Chris Jericho, but I'm sure
Bounty Hunter crew is not working.
I'm sure that is going to be cleared up on Wednesday, but he attacks both of them, and Chris Jericho pins Shibata, and then that's it. And then Chris Jericho retains.
Gave this match 1 star.
Oh, that's you're being too hard.
This match got 1 star for Big Bill going through that table and the dice
and almost dying.
Nothing was good about this.
I will say that
A
Chris
2-on-1
Jericho,
handicap against a heel
yeah,
is not entertaining.
no. I think I'm not as low as 1. I'm not defending it and saying it's a 4-star match or anything.
That's what I hear. You actually said 5 on
Yeah,
record.
I wrote down 7. I wrote the scale.
Never breaks the scale. This was the one.
Yeah, this is the one. This is my wet willy. Wet willy.
Yeah, really.
What?
All right.
It was Chris Jericho got beat to shit in this match, and you gotta give him something for that at this age
No.
to be able to. He got dropped on his neck and folded like an accordion and continued for the rest of this. On to Dice, by the way.
That's tough. Feel bad.
I know people don't like Chris Jericho. I know you don't like Chris Jericho. I'm saying the match only worked by Chris Jericho getting the shit beat out of him, and he is the kind of guy in this roster that doesn't need to do that, and he did it. So I'm giving him some ups for that one, but I think that's the extent of my my praise, I think. And also, as Kyle points out, it wasn't like the dice went away. They've been bumping on those dice all night, you know? It's like a craps table over here with how much dice bumping. I don't know if that's what craps is. I've never gone to a casino. But there's some element of like, all right, they did the work. You got to understand that that's good. Chris Jericho did not have to be beaten up the entire time. He could have had if Hogan was around, he would have had Big Bill taking all the bumps. You know, you got to give him something, right? You got to give him something, Scotty.
Yeah, congrats. It's 1 1/4 officially.
There you go. I bumped him up. I bumped him up, guys. I know
I really did not enjoy the match.
I know I'm the outlier, and everyone also in the chat probably agrees with Scotty, but I'm not even saying the match is good. I'm probably sitting, I don't know.
Jericho has the worst match on AEW pay-per-views for me for like 5 pay-per-views in a row.
Is it my worst match? I mean, possibly. It wasn't like I'm not terrible at a 1 with you. I might be like a 2.
Same thing.
Yeah, 2 to me is a fine, you know?
Yeah, see, for me, it's still stinky poo-poo unless it was like a squash match.
Yeah, and I get that. Next up, excuse me, IWGP, World Heavyweight Championship Eliminator match. Jon Moxley defeats Konosuke Takeshita. You and I both missed Collision, apparently, because you and I, for the longest time, didn't put it together that Takeshita was the reason why Moxley's arm was all bandaged up. It wasn't until halfway through the match where I believe Tony Schiavone said that Takeshita was the one that caused this to Moxley on Collision.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where's the video package? You know what I'm saying, brother?
I was so confused. I was like, what? Why does he look like a mummy? That's literally what I said. I was like, what happened to him? And then like they just purposely made the match weaker because of this injury.
Yeah,
Moxley's working in slow motion.
Yeah, I do think the match was. I think the match was hurt by expectations for us.
For sure.
Okay. We were
expecting.
Sorry,
I saw Jon Moxley and Konosuke Takeshita. I said, "Oh, this should be great."
And then we got a completely different match. Yeah. The idea of doing the arm bandage was to set up the idea that Takeshita could actually win. And I respect that move. And I thought it was really well worked. Like, it really presented of Takeshita just kind of like slowly picking apart and destroying Moxley. And it wasn't until really Callis kind of getting involved and convincing Takeshita that he needs to kill Jon Moxley and get the chairs that it caused the screw up for Moxley to get the win. You know, it wasn't until that spot. But I think it's one of those matches that I have to like wait a month and look back and watch it again. You know what I mean? Like, I think it was really well worked and really well done. it just was like completely not what I was expecting at all. And yeah, it was just completely different. And I don't know, and I don't necessarily think I don't think that's a bad thing. It's just my expectations were radically different, like yours were.
Yeah, like I see. I still thought it was a well worked match. I want to put that
Yeah,
out there.
agreed. It was
Well
well
worked
worked.
match.
I think,
Still one of the better matches on the show for me.
yeah, I think top half.
Yeah, so like that's not bad. It's like it's just I see these two guys. I think this can be one of the best matches on the show easily. Like it could be the best match on the show if they went to their absolute limits. Takeshita's best when he's just wrestling straight up in a fight.
Mhm.
He tried his best, but like Moxley's playing to the story, which I don't blame him. Like I just wish they didn't do this angle. Didn't work for me. But the one good thing is I guess Takeshita kind of gets off easy, right? Because he got drilled onto the chair. So
Mhm.
whatever. All roads lead to evil anyways, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Oh my
Yeah,
god, I need to you want to hear a funny story? So I'm with my
sure.
friend. I'm telling my friend about evil, whatever. And because he doesn't like follow New Japan at all, but he knows who evil is. And I'm explaining to him how evil's the man. And people in the chat might attack me for that. But I was explaining to him the story of him being at 7-Eleven because he didn't understand why he was at WrestleMania. I was
Mhm.
like, you know, significant other of Io Sky, reportedly long ago. That blew his mind, by the way. That was another like,
Well, it
huh?
shouldn't. It shouldn't. Have you seen Evil? Have you seen
That's
him?
what I said. That's what I said. I was like, have you seen Evil? Anyways, continuing forward. I explained the story like, look at Evil. You look at Evil, right? You see this man? One of a kind, right? You're never gonna see another guy like this. And someone goes up to him in 7-Eleven, are you Evil? And he goes, yeah. My friend popped for that one. And I was like, yeah, Evil's fighting Moxley. Oh my god, someone asked about more belts.
More belts, like the women's
Women's
tags.
tag or trios.
Yeah, I get women's tag title belts. I
Tony
don't
brings
know.
up on oh, this is interesting. Tony brings up unprompted that he's interested in the idea of mixed division men's woman tag titles. And he thinks that would set AEW apart.
It would, other than AAA.
Okay, that's not a real company.
I know. It would set them apart. You do couples, and you got Adam Cole and Britt Baker. You got Ty Conti and Sammy Guevara. You got, I guess, Ruby Soho and
Something
her
more
now
funny. There's
husband.
something 10 times more funny. This is more funny.
Okay.
Tanahashi got up in the middle of the press and said he had to go to the bathroom and just left. He came back just now with a fucking smile on his face.
That smile on the face. That's a man who took a dump. That guy took a big
That's the
big
moment
time
of the
American
show.
dump.
That's the moment of the show. All right, whatever. We're ending this. See you guys.
No,
Tanahashi
no,
ended
no.
the show. Sorry.
Wow.
Oh man. Whew.
Guy took a dump mid press conference. That's my ace. That's my ace.
That's my ace.
Go Ace goes to the bathroom.
That's my ace.
Last four matches here. Barbed wire steel cage match for the AEW TNT title. Adam Copeland versus Malachi Black. Okay, so fine little plunder match in a steel cage.
Edge almost murdered himself.
Then, yeah, a lot of murdering. Malachi Black looked bloody as all hell, gushing. Then they somehow get to the outside. Then Brody and Buddy come out.
Buddy.
They tease turning on Malachi Black and aligning themselves with Adam Copeland. They then fake that out almost immediately. They bring everyone back in the ring and plan to, I guess, crucify Adam Copeland was their plan.
Yes.
A crown of barbed wires, and and holding him out, arms outstretched, like they were going to crucify him. And then all of a sudden, there was a little like delayed reaction, and then nothing really happening, but the crowd was into something. And then the lights went red, and Gangrel came out, Fangin' and Bangin' Gang, and attacked everybody. And by the way, Adam Copeland jumped off the top of the steel cage and just did a terrible elbow drop or splash,
landed on his leg.
And I thought he was about to Sid Vicious himself. And I was terrified. I
got up there. I was like, go for the splash. Just go for a splash. Just go for a splash.
It'd be bad on his knees probably, because he's probably going to have to take that bump on his knees. But instead,
he doesn't you're not landing on your legs.
He took that bump just straight down on his ankles, and obviously limping a shit ton after the match. So I don't.
He's 50 years old.
Has Adam Copeland showed up in this presser?
No, he's not at the presser.
Yeah, he's probably in the hospital.
They're all done with the wrestlers.
He's probably in the hospital.
Yeah, this match was it was weird. So I was fine until they did the like, oh my god, Brody King and Buddy Matthews are joining Edge. I was like, what? I got my hopes up that Malachi was leaving. Actually, that was my first thing. I was like, oh, let's go. And then I was like, wait a minute, Buddy Matthews should be too then. But and like, listen, I knew Gangrel was coming out eventually.
We all did.
But him being able to take out Brody and Buddy, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That was a little much. Was whatever.
Well, wasn't Brody just with Miss?
Oh yeah, sure. I don't know. He hit some nice impaler DDTs though. He hit multiple, and they were nice. I'll give Gangrel credit for that.
Yeah.
This was exactly what I expected the match to be. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I thought so. Like, I am not into this current storyline with Adam Copeland, and I really feel like we are just rehashing his WWE return at this point. I watched
this and I said to myself, "Oh my god, this is Edge versus Finn Balor from WrestleMania 39."
That's exactly what I was getting to.
Without blood, obviously.
Yeah, I think it is the AEW version of that exact same match. Yep. It is. They have blood, they have barbed wire, but it's just the spooky guys and there's violence. I mean, there was blood in that match, but that was mistaken, and they stopped the match so they can sew up, Finn Balor real quickly. But it was the same sort of idea, and I don't know. Are we leading to Judgment Day 2.0? Is that what's next? He has one, so he has Brody King and Buddy now. I don't know.
No, they beat him up. He does not have them. They beat Edge up, so he has no one. He's a loser. Part of me wanted Edge to, by the way, Christian just to like give up on the gimmick for like 5 minutes. Just go out there. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just screw it. Let's just act like and put on a wig and have the long hair again. I was like, whatever. No, this was whatever. It's like this match. I think I would have probably actually enjoyed a little more had it been earlier in the night. But this came after the slog of 3 matches where I'm like, please just get me to the triple main events. Please, for the love of all that is good, get me to the triple main events.
I think it was also something that, along with the interferences, but especially because of Anarchy being 3 matches later.
Yeah.
Too much plunder, and then you get even more plunder,
Yes.
You get a walk-in plunder.
Also, when he went through the door, I said, oh, he won! Oh, those rules don't exist here. Never mind. He didn't win.
Yeah.
That wasn't a thing. I legitimately thought he won. Also, I missed the old steel cage. Was Cody and Wardlow used?
Yeah, this was shorter, right?
This was like the WWE steel cage.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't like.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Did they switch it for this one specifically, or was it always?
I don't know. I don't remember the last steel cage.
I honestly don't know what it looks like.
This one was tighter to the ring.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they have had steel cages that are surrounding it. Remember the Britt Baker Thunder Rosa one?
That was the same one as the Cody Wardlow.
Okay, was
A little
it?
more spacious. A
Yeah,
little more spacious, you know.
yeah. This one
You
was.
were there. You should know.
I don't remember what it looks like on
You
camera,
just
like
remember
in terms of the
regular
size.
show. I get it.
Yeah, but I get it. That one also big, and I get Adam Copeland maybe not wanting to jump off of that one. But like you now, that's a great shout out though. The production has changed the steel cage to be smaller and to be more WWE like.
Mm.
You know, that's one more thing in the changes to WWE production wise.
Nothing says makes you happy like WWE.
Nothing says competition brand than adjusting things to be more like WWE, you know. And I get it, you know, going from AEW 2019 to AEW 2024, obviously like WWE is not the only one with LED board walls and all this sort of stuff. You know, all these other companies have it, not just in wrestling, but in like boxing and UFC and stuff like that. But I don't know. Well, less so, I guess, boxing and UFC. But you know, these things exist in other companies. But it just happens that it's more WWE than doing your own thing, I guess.
Yep. Press conference is over. The press conference beat us.
Well, we got to wrap up soon. Any other interesting parts in the press conference then? It was super quick. So, I mean, to be fair, the press conference was super quick.
I don't think so. Tony didn't talk about much. It was pretty useless. Let me see. He puts over Collision. It's great ratings, expanding their pay-per-view calendar. 3 for 3 on great pay-per-views. He's a booker. Yada, yada, yada. He asked about Adam Copeland's health.
Okay. I did want to know that.
Tony says they're having great talks with WBD and said nothing about Adam Copeland's health. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. They're checking him out and are knocking on wood that he's okay. He was hoping he'd be sitting at the presser time. I hope he's okay. Lots of hope.
Lots of cope. So the plan was that he was going to be at the presser, but he is too injured possibly to be at the presser.
Tony says they're having great talks with WWE. Strongly puts over David Zaslav, who might be hated by everyone on earth, but besides Tony Khan and CM Punk.
That's fair. What was it? One Bill Phil?
Tony thinks. Oh, sorry, there's some more. Tony thinks it would be a great identity and possibility. Oh, sorry, I missed the tweet. Final question for Tana: would there be interest in doing an AEW New Japan co-branded show in Japan? Tanahashi says he cannot answer 80% of the question. What? Young wrestlers, in quotes, this man is living in ignorant bliss, and I envy him. Tony thinks it would be a great identity and possibility, but it would not be Forbidden Door, making it sound like a co-brand show in Japan is possible, but probably not called Forbidden Door, rather maybe something in addition. Tony thinks it would be really exciting to send a big crew of talent to Japan. Tony ends by having fans give a round for Renee. That's it.
Yeah, there's something he did with this presser is that Renee was sitting with them, asking them questions every single time, which is a Byron Saxton WWE presser move.
Yes. So obviously that very much excites you.
Yep. Let's move right along. AEW TBS title match. Mercedes Moné defeats Willow Nightingale. 18 minutes. Really, really good match. You know, people were talking about this is Brooklyn 2.0, right? With Sasha Banks versus Bayley. And hey, you know, I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm just saying that Willow came out with a high pony on her head. I don't know if that was on purpose, but it certainly happened.
I wouldn't say it was Brooklyn.
No, definitely not Brooklyn.
That's not a shot at these two. I thought these two had a great match, but Brooklyn is something special, and I will not let us just say that. I think one of the things that I want to say, and I said this on Twitter before the match was even over, this is why you signed Mercedes Moné. I just can't stress that enough. From the entrance to the gear to just the big fight feel that she brings. I don't think in America I've seen a women's wrestler bring that feel to her matches. Like, it just feels bigger. right? Like, felt bigger than the world title match earlier in the night. Felt bigger than most AEW women's matches. Felt like the biggest match of the night, truthfully, because the Anarchy in the Arena wasn't really a match. That was chaos. Felt like the biggest match of the show. Felt like the main event in many ways. Like, had that show ended on that, I would have been like, all right, there you go. Thankfully it didn't, because it had 2 good matches after. But Mercedes is still Mercedes, thank God. I was very worried that she would not be Mercedes anymore because of that injury. And I'm very excited to see what she does next. Now that she's a wrestler, now that she wrestles again, I don't have to sit and wait anymore. That's the exciting part, right? The shackles are off. Is she probably going to be a big pay-per-view fighter for the most part? Yeah, I'm sure we're not giving away Mercedes Moné matches every week, but you can give them away from time to time, right? We're building to Forbidden Door now, so that brings up a lot of interesting potential opponents. The people that come to mind are Azumi, obviously. I think, with her previous introduction, I think Stephanie Vaquer should be considered for obvious reasons. She's a strong champion. There's a history with that belt that is supposed to be Mercedes' belt. They obviously have a match in the
Tony Khan has talked about bringing in Stephanie Vaquer before.
They've had a match where Mercedes beat Vaquer, so that is something you can work off of as well, right, in the tournament last year. And I'd love to see them have a rematch, because I think Stephanie Vaquer has leveled up, obviously, since then. A lot of people learned who she was for the first time on that match.
I did. I was one of those people.
And she's just been fantastic ever since. So I think that would be an incredible match, especially if we have to take into account. Listen, we're not going to get a million women's matches on Forbidden Door, right? The first year was 1. We're probably going to get 2, maybe 3, but I don't know if I see it. One of them is going to be Tony and Mina.
Yep.
You would probably want Vaquer on the show. So if it's not
some capacity,
right? So you're getting 3 women's matches. I think if Vaquer is also defending,
sure.
But
what would be the third? What's the third?
Well, it would be Vaquer defending and then Mercedes defending, and then
that's 2 separate matches.
Yes. But if they're only doing 2, Vaquer makes a lot of sense. I'm sure they do 2 plus a pre-show match, because you have to fit. Think about it. You have to fit CMLL now, and New Japan, and AEW. That's a lot of men's matches that they're going to fit in.
And if you're bringing in Azumi, you'd have to. I mean, you have to fit in Stardom.
We're assuming they're bringing in Azumi. It could just be Mina.
You make it easy by just bringing in CMLL and just calling it there. And I guess you bring in a Mina, so we are.
You have Mina for Tony, so there's your Stardom.
Yeah, that could work. That'd be fine.
Yeah, but I'm happy Mercedes is here. By the way, I don't want to just make this all about Mercedes. Willow's fucking awesome.
Yeah, Willow's. I thought Willow was really good here. I wasn't going to say about Mercedes that I thought she was a little rusty at the jump, but once she got past all of her lucha training that she'd gotten like in the past year or so, I think once she got past that and into that's the thing. She always has like a little bit of rust, but there's the point where it's like rust with Mercedes and her classic rough edges that are actually what make her great.
Yes.
And once she got past the rust stage and became just like once she tied up early on in the match, tied up Willow's ankle in the ropes.
That was great work.
That was the moment where Mercedes kicked in, and it was like, okay, here we are.
She's I want to say this about Willow.
Really did a really good job of settling that ankle, by the way. But continue.
I've never seen a wrestler get so over, despite so many mistakes in getting her over. She should have been champion so many times this past year, right? She wasn't supposed to be strong champion. She got it anyways. She didn't beat Athena in that big Ring of Honor women's title match at the main event, where she probably should have beat Athena. And then she didn't get the TBS title all this time until it's like, oh shit, we need to get this on her so she can lose it to Mercedes, right? It should have happened a long time ago, but hey, she has a story lined up right after this, so that's at least good to see. I hope she benefits from this, and I would like to see her come back around and maybe face Mercedes in a third match down the line.
So the story you're talking about got set up after this is Chris Statlander and Stokely both officially turn on Willow, breaking apart that friendship bracelet. So
How
that
you?
that seems to be the story moving forward. That also feels like it would be a Owen thing, or it could be separate from the Owen. I don't really know, but that's the match moving forward.
Could see them cost each other the Owen, or cost one or the other the Owen.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because Will is obviously the defending Owen winner. So it'll be, yeah, I think you're definitely right on that. It's possible. It'll be interesting to follow though. Like I said, the women's division clearly in such a better state now than it was. So I did see that update on Megan Bain today. I don't think anyone knows what the fuck's going on. Did you see that?
Yeah.
It's like, actually, I don't know. You know, that's kind of what I read at.
We still got her, apparently. It's nice to have an update on her.
Yeah, sure.
A tough spot on the card here for a triple main event. AEW World Title match: Swerve Strickland versus Christian Cage.
They got the dead spot. Thought they did a good job, as good as they could.
24.50, by the way.
Yeah. So I was racing home to watch the rest of this match. But from what I saw, I liked. I think Christian rules.
You didn't miss much.
I missed the usual opening of a match. It's like whatever. Probably benefited my viewing, actually, just missing the extra fluff. Christian's great. That stomp on the freaking announce table was sick. That
stomp on the outside the steps.
Oh,
right onto the ring apron.
Yeah, two nasty stomps. I kind of like that he can just hit it out of nowhere, and I kind of like that he won so definitively. Yeah, for sure. It was like I know, like, we had our conversations about this being his first feud, but in many ways it felt perfect when it was all over, because it was like, okay, he's the dominant champ, he's the guy.
Yeah,
like, yes, he's not, maybe he's not main eventing, but he's the guy. This is who we're going with, plain and simple.
I will say, I think he took, and it's part of the issue if I swerve, and that's obviously with the build up to this as well. I think he took a little bit too much on him. It was a little too 50-50 for my liking. Out of, like, Swerve was dominant by the end, but there was a good portion where he's just getting the shit kicked out of him. And then
I wouldn't be as bothered if they didn't have a million interferences. So it's like,
well, he was getting the shit kicked out of him, and then we get some interferences and a continuation of stuff when he's trying to fight back, and then the interferences get away and cutting off his control periods. And then once he's turning around, he gets that, definitive stomp and all these sort of things that I think
on the spear. Also, that was awesome. That was very well done. It was very good world title match. Nothing like. I did think this though. When's the last time the world title match felt like the biggest and best story going in AEW?
I'm trying to think if there was a Samoa Joe match, but the fact that I can't think of anything.
No, because I can't think of one being the best story, because Sting's retirement was happening at the same time.
Yeah.
And that felt bigger, obviously. Last time around, Danielson and Ospreay felt like the bigger match, right?
You're talking about the biggest match on a pay-per-view?
Just the biggest story in the company.
Is
it MJF and Cole? I guess.
Yeah, that was certainly the biggest story in the company. It wasn't the best story.
Actually, it was the real world championship.
Yeah. It was certainly the biggest story in the company, but it was not.
Didn't work for many, but like it worked for others, I guess.
Sure. Sure.
I guess that's the last time, but my main point is I'm excited for Hangman to come back, because that's going to feel like the main story of this company.
Yeah.
Period. End story. It's like there's no doubt about that.
And we'll know who Swerve's next challenger is on Wednesday. So we'll find that out.
Yes, we will. And whenever the Owen starts, we hopefully have Hangman back.
Yeah, hopefully.
Because
Main
at
event,
this point, it has to be then. If it's not
yeah,
then, it's all out. That's what, 2 weeks later?
which it could be. It could also be that.
As long as it's Hangman, I just want this man back.
I agree. Fully agree. Main event, Anarchy in the arena match, 30 minutes basically. Elite get the win with Jack Perry getting the pinfall victory over Bryan Danielson with a hung Darby Allin by his feet.
That was terrifying. That took my
Age of the
attention away.
Fall. Age of the Fall called. They want their finish back. I'm joking. That was really cool. I thought this match was a good chaotic fun. I will say though, I don't really know.
I liked it better than last year's.
I don't really know if I have this feeling about last year's or whatever. I thought this one was too overstuffed with ideas. So we have like the
I
first
felt
portion with
that
the
last year.
music, which was dope as hell with Darby diving at as the chorus of Final Countdown plays. And that shot, that ruled. That was awesome as hell. So you had that, and then you get to like the inside while Jack Perry and Darby go on the outside, and then you get this weird, scapegoat minivan spot, which I don't know if the cameras were supposed to cut back earlier or something, but just like it was so random that it kind of didn't really work. And then you get, grabbing Tony Khan and attacking Tony Khan and then bring him out and then lighting Jack Perry on fire. And then the exploding chair, the barbed wire shoes, the sleeve thing for the Rainmaker, the Darby Allin hanging in the air by his legs, by his feet. To me, it felt just a little bit too overstuffed. Where if you take out one of those, I thought would be really nice. But I think it was, still very fun. It was just, I think it was just a little too much, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get that. To me, this is like just far more memorable than the other one. Last year, not the first one. So,
That's
like,
fair.
that's
I
gonna
think I will remember this one more.
I
with
think all the
lighting
big
a man on
moments,
fire and hanging a man.
like I think all the big moments made up for the many, many, many ideas, and like I had fun the entire time. So that for me gives it the benefit of the doubt. It's probably my third favorite match on the show. Darby's insane. Like this guy is broken face, broken foot, broken body, and he is in many ways
broken mind, broken spirit. No,
in many ways the star of the match every time. I do like that they kept Danielson safe this time. Felt very him and Okada were like, all right, let's just have these two wrestle. They're gonna beat each other up a little, and we're gonna keep them in kind of protect a little bubble wrap here over here.
Of course, Brian is gonna bleed, but it's
that's fine. That's nice blade job. I thought the super kicks to the hanging Darby was terrifying.
Agreed.
Absolutely terrifying. And Jack Perry won. And listen, my number one thing going into this was where the fuck is Jack Perry?
The guy that was lit on fire got the pinfall.
That man cannot be stopped.
He's on fire. He's on fire.
I'm gonna say it. This is how I end the show. I'm gonna say it. I fucking love Jack Perry. This is the guy that last year when I saw him do the Cry Me the River thing, I was like, get this guy out of here. I know exactly what he was doing. I take it all back. Little did I know he was setting himself up to be great.
Yeah.
Little did I know that he was on his way to greatness. And I almost don't know how you don't run Jack Perry versus Swerve next.
Yeah.
That's House of Torture's own, baby.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
I would do that. I would do that 100%. 1 year later, after challenging for the IWGP title, and people were like, why the frick is Jungle Jack Perry in this match? He does it for the AEW World title this time, and it deservingly so. He'll lose. That's fine. I don't care if he loses. But House of Torture around and the Elite? Chaos? You kidding me? I don't know. I think it's interesting. Why not? Why not him?
I think you should get it by year's end. If not Forbidden Door, at least by year's end. Not
The
sorry.
title shot?
No, to be clear, not World's End. Just at some point in the rest of the year, he should have a world title shot.
I don't want them to wait too long. I
That's
think he
fair.
should be before Hangman. Because I
Agreed.
feel like Hangman should be the ultimate. All right, let's get this belt off of Swerve once and for all. Let's
Agreed.
reinstate Hangman, put him right into a big spot type thing.
Agreed.
Like if it's the Owen, it's the Owen. But I don't know. Jack Perry rules. Plain and simple. This guy got lit on fire.
And then beat Bryan Danielson's ass.
When they did that spot,
I'm a shining wizard.
did you also think like, wow, that Flame's really close to Cass Wheeler right now? Darby's just like swinging it around. It's like, do you know there's actual other people around you?
Yeah. Speaking about Cash Wheeler, he looked fine. Dax Harwood, American Ishii.
Dax Ishii.
Yeah.
Dax Ishii.
The Stone Pitbull, Dax Harwood.
Literally thought it was him when I first saw him.
Yeah.
Like when I saw like the back of him, I was like, when did Ishii wrestle in this match?
There are many moments where I was like, Ishii, what are you doing over here?
I like the long boy look for them though.
It's an interesting look. I'm not 100%.
And you see him without the shirts, like in a match, regular normal match, not a chaos fight.
Kyle in the chat, great joke. Strap in, Scotty. Stone Pitballed. Stone Pint Gun.
We'll see you next week, folks. Stone Pit Bald.
Yeah.
Jack Perry's the best part of the Elite story, and it's not close.
Agreed. Everything he's doing is captivating.
Also, that little fucking smile he left at the camera when he's like, I'm gonna go beat the shit out of Tony Khan. I was like, yeah, that's right. You should beat the shit out of Tony Khan.
Yeah. Everything
Tony Khan was doing also way too close to the fire.
Agreed. He was I think everything Jack Perry is doing right now is captivating. To a certain extent, that's how I feel about Darby as well. I really talked to Darby earlier on today's Ring Post Radio episode. But like it really, whatever Darby does captivates me, and Jack Perry is getting to that point, and I'm there. I'm there for Jack Perry. Let's do something.
My friend texted me. Jack Perry could be somewhere in Hollywood, right? Like just living off his dad's life and making contracts. But no, this man got so spiteful at CM Punk. He said, oh, fuck you. Real fire. And I think that's incredible. He was like, listen, I know Darby's in this match, but I'm going to do the craziest thing in this match.
Look, I know people are expecting real glass, but what about real fire? What about real water? The
way they did that, by the way, like you said, brilliant.
Yeah, I texted you that like I thought it was a really smart idea for them to do the dunking of Jack Perry in the water to set up later him being soaking wet in the fire gel.
Yeah.
Later, I thought that was a very smart idea.
He was not actually burned alive, folks. I'm sorry.
Yeah. To all those people that were like, we have to expect that Darby Allin wants to light him on fire and burn these people alive. Yeah, it's wrestling. He brought it out. Of course, it's going to be a thing.
He pinned Bryan Danielson after being lit on fire.
Mm-hmm.
If that doesn't say it all, I don't know what does.
He puts the goat and scapegoat, guys.
The only thing that would have made this better, if he pinned CM Punk.
Again. What did I say? What did I say earlier?
I know.
Bryan Danielson feels like he is replacing Punk in this spot.
He's Bryan Danielson's actually the scapegoat.
Rectamundo. In this spot, there's the alternate reality. Wouldn't happen even if Punk agreed to this match.
No.
He would not eat the pinfall to Jack Perry.
Never a chance.
No. Cash is eating that pinfall.
You know what they say? You're an asshole if you don't like Jack Perry.
Yeah. This, you get a better moment. Jack Perry set up even more for the future. I'm excited for it. Young Bucks I thought were great. Darby was obviously great. Everyone else held their own and did fine. I thought Kazuchika Okada was the weakest, and by weakest I mean his chair shots. But
oh man, I mean this guy was legitimately wrestling a New Japan match. He was like, I don't know what to do here. I'm just gonna be safe. I was like,
I don't blame him. I don't blame him. Do you think we're bubble wrapping Bryan Danielson a little bit in this match for something specific?
Yeah. Tony wants to use him sooner than later.
Yeah. Is there something forbidden door that we're doing with Bryan Danielson?
Probably.
Shingo,
Naito,
American Dragon versus the Dragon.
Someone he's never faced that he's probably handpicked.
10-man tag against Evil.
No. Listen. Here's the thing. This is Danielson potentially his last forbidden door. Just put him in there, Shingo.
Yeah. I didn't think about that, but you're right. It would be potentially his last forbidden door.
He's going to be around, but I don't know if he's going to be around for like a show like this.
I agree. Pretty decent show. Pretty little decent show. Little lull in the middle, but little lull in the middle. But a lot of the great AEW shows have lulls in the middle. You know
all the great AEW shows. I'm gonna get a scapegoat armband.
Okay, nice.
Just all of us wear on this show to represent unification with the man, the myth, the scapegoat.
Oh, look at that little smile.
That's the future of the. See, this is the best pillar, everybody. This is the best pillar. Look at him. Look at that beautiful smile. That's a man that wants to go through real glass.
And next week we'll update the MJF tracker.
They should just do Darby versus Jungle Boy, Jack Perry. That'd be a good match.
Yeah, it'd be a question of how healthy
in a who's gonna die first match. Obviously, it's gonna be Darby.
Yeah, it's a loser leaves this mortal coil. The loser.
The MJF track was incredible. That is gonna be great. That is a great bit for the people that watch this show.
I agree. I'm excited for next week. Now,
it's
especially
8 a.m. Goodbye, everybody.
I want to go to bed. I'm still sick, so I need to go to bed. Thank you, everybody, for listening to our review of AEW Double or Nothing. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back next week for an brand new episode of Ring Post Radio. We appreciate you listening.
Wait a minute. I've been waiting for so long to press this button.
Monet.
Yeah, baby. We'll be back next week talking about all new stuff on our Ring Post Radio show on Sunday at 9 a.m. We thank you so much for watching and listening to this live. So many of you people watch and listen to this live. We very much thank you. Shout out to those in the chat that were here. Appreciate the show, fellas. As always, Kyle, we live to serve and serve to live. I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, if you listen to the show on audio, we always
Monet.
And we'll see you next week on Ring Post Radio on Sunday. Until then, goodbye, everybody. I thought you were going to hit that stinger. You got to hit that stinger one more time.
Monet.